I mean, we've just seen Usyk has distanced himself or severed the relationship with the Riyadh season and going over to America to potentially make fights there. Now, that to me smacks of, for whatever reason, he isn't able to get the monetisation that he wants from Riyadh season. Do you have any sort of viewpoints as to why Usyk would not be fighting under Riyadh season anymore, given the fact that they're the game in town, they've been the game in town for the last 2 or 3 years?
I think you've just said it yourself. I think obviously the money must have been lowered. The big funds that were there are probably not there as much as what it was in the past.
Because the unified heavyweight champion of the world.
No, but you're not talking the opponents wise. It's not going to be. Usyk couldn't fill a stadium over here, could he? Unless it's against one of the dance partners like Fury, like Joshua.
I think Usyk's at the stage of his career now as well, guys, where he said that he wants 3 more fights now and he's out. So he's obviously got a plan in his mind where he wants to go with those fights. And he's looking at it going, look, I want to be that guy that beats everyone of that modern era.
Is it really that? Is that not a real
Do you think
thing?
It's for financial reasons?
Well, I think the only reason...
he's earned enough money and now...
Well, has he?
Absolutely.
Has he, in comparison with the other
enough
fighters?
money? What's enough money for a fighter, though, Spencer?
No, but what I'm saying... Yeah, but guys, you've got to understand, like, from his point of view as well, he's going... That's why he chose Deontay Wilder, not because he feels that it's a competitive fight now, but it's just another name of that era that will stop all the talking points. I wonder if he would have beat...
Is that real, it might be the venues as well? Is that it might be the country, the states? You want to go and fight Madison Square Garden, Vegas... Would that be the old dreams, aren't they, before money?
No, you can't decide. But
is that a real thing, boys? Because we create these things in the media. We have a tendency to create and curate what we think is the mindset of a fighter. Usyk has beaten everybody, right? Anyone
apart from Wilder.
Twice.
But Wilder's done.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
Is it really?
You won't be saying that in 20 years, mate. When you're looking at resumes, when you're talking about...
Is that real?
Right, so
here it is. You won't be saying it in 20 years' time?
No, here it is, then. Here it is. Let me come in from this angle. When you're talking about the best heavyweights in history and you're looking at them and you're looking at resumes, etc., Oleksandr Usyk is unprecedented. You look at him, undisputed cruiserweight, undisputed heavyweight champion twice, and the people that he's beaten. The only name that's not on his resume, and he'll be thinking this as well, is Deontay Wilder. Forget what state Wilder's in right now, because it is. Yeah, but I know what you're saying.
I agree, Spence.
But you've got to understand it from that side as well.
I agree, but to me, a boxing-obsessed fan growing up from the age of 4 with boxing gloves on in the living room with my underpants on wanting to fight, Mike Tyson will never be ranked below Oleksandr Usyk. Mike Tyson's my favourite. Mike Tyson's the one who devastated the division. I think on his day, he could have beat any of them. And he probably would have lost to a couple of them as well on his day. That's how fights are. But Usyk is trying to cement his greatness, I get it. And beating Wilder might be, in 20 years' time, you look back. But I think it might be something a bit more to it. Like, he just wants to go and fight in the States. How many people do you know?
Well, there you go.
When you're a kid, you want to go and fight in Madison Square Garden, you want to fight in Las Vegas. It could be, but I don't know the real reason why the Riyadh season is not working.
I have heard...
It's got to be something.
Didn't they comment, though? Didn't they say that wasn't the case?
We're still friends.
Yeah, we're still friends and all that kind of stuff. All I know is that when you look at it, I'm talking as a boxing fan, forget about being involved in boxing, but as boxing fans, you forget you've boxed or whatever. If you look at Wilder against Usyk, it's a grotesque mismatch.
Yeah. I totally agree with you.
No one wants to see that.
Totally agree with you, but how many boxing fans is there as opposed to people that want to watch?
Unless we see a
we see
a revitalised Deontay Wilder, because what we're seeing is Deontay Wilder was the former fighter known as Deontay Wilder in the last 2 fights. If somehow or another, because he talked about the challenges in his life, he talked about the loss of direction, he talked about being consistently off balance, and now all of that has come down. I mean, I thought he was having a kumbaya moment when he was saying it, but notwithstanding that, if you do get a Deontay Wilder with serious intent, there is a fight to be had there, isn't there?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's 40 years old. I think he's 40 years old, and I think he's shot to pieces.
Okay.
You're right, but I just think it's long gone. I think it's too late in the day for him to come back and beat.
Listen, I think from both sides, Oleksandr Usyk's earned the right to choose that opponent. In my eyes, coming off the back of what he's achieved, you go, I understand it, I get it, I understand the reasoning behind it. Yeah. Deontay Wilder, he's been a big character himself, and he gets that opportunity again.
You're not staying up till 4 o'clock in the morning to watch it, though, are you?
I never stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning.
There is an argument, though, that Usyk probably should retire, because who else is there for him to fight, apart from maybe Caballero?
I hate to hear myself say this, and I'm happy to get slapped about for it. There is a feel of the Usyk era, despite how brilliant he is, that has a whiff of the Klitschko's, because it doesn't have the pizzazz, it doesn't have any sizzle. You know, there's more sizzle about Usyk than there was about Vladimir Klitschko.
Yeah, but you can't, like...
I know it's a bad comparison, but it was
beat Anthony Joshua twice. He's beat Tyson Fury twice.
But why would Riyadh season not
yeah, but
everybody twice?
Klitschko never beat anyone. They were all like really boring names.
And he always boxed in Germany.
Up the era.
I'm talking about the sexiness of it. The fact that Usyk, whoever Mike Tyson went in with, right, would have filled an auditorium. Whoever it was, whether it was Carl the Truth Williams that he knocked out in the first round, or it was Pinkland Thomas, or it was Tyrell Biggs, or whoever it was, didn't matter, right? Whoever he went in with, right? But whereas with Usyk, there's an element of this guy is the elite of the elite, but there's not enough sizzle enough around him that makes it so sexy.
Let me throw this out there, right? Usyk said he wants 3 fights and then three more fights and then he's out. Let's go like this. Deontay Wilder next. Then he goes for the WBO title again and goes for Fabio Wardley. And then, to show his greatness, before he retires, he takes on Moses Itauma, the kid that everyone's talking about as the next heavyweight generational great. Moses Itauma in his third and final fight, and then see you later.
That's what I was going to say. Find me 3
He ain't going to let Moses Itauma get 3 fights better.
In Ukraine.
It'd be tough for him to get 3 opponents that people
he's never fighting
to watch.
Moses Itauma. Never fighting Moses Itauma.
Why not?
Because I don't think because there's too much of a legacy damage there. If
but that's what I'm talking about. He might be wanting to go for greatness.
But Tyson Fury is a businessman and looks at the reality of what is an outcome for him. There's zero benefit.
No, I'm talking about Usyk.
Oh, Usyk.
Usyk, yeah,
sorry.
Usyk. I'm talking about Usyk.
Yeah, okay.
Deontay Wilder, Fabio Wardley, Moses Itauma. See you later.
I would like to see Cabell in the mix here because he's the one that I think deserves the opportunity. How would you see, if we got Cabell, he's fighting this weekend and I expect him to win that fight, if there's an opportunity for, let's say Usyk doesn't defend and one of the belts drops off and ultimately it becomes Cabell's to have.
Yeah.
How do you think Fury would go against someone like Cabell?
Again, back to what I was saying, and I'm really trying my best not to sound negative to Fury because he's been unbelievable for boxing and British boxing and I like him. What's he got left? Because if he hasn't got 80% left, don't go anywhere near Cabell. Yeah. And what we've seen in the last few fights is it's not probably 80% no more. And they're retiring and coming back. They're retiring and coming back. I know it's what he's done, but it's not good for him.
But that's why he has the warm-up fight, Paul, to see what percentage he has got left, because he's going to need to know that himself. In the gym, he might be looking great and he's firing on all cylinders, but until he steps through those ropes, he won't know. Yeah. Fury won't risk that. He'll have a warm-up fight before going into a big fight of some magnitude after that.
Isn't a warm-up fight, though, a risk? Everything's a risk, isn't it? I don't know.
It is, but you need to know where you're at.
When you say, do you know Cabell, you say the chairman of the Who Needs Him club. Cabell sold, I think, 10,000 tickets in Germany. He's then speaking about him boxing in a football stadium in Germany. He's going to be a big old force in Germany. But as I say, Daniel Dubois go and fight him. No problem.
Francis Ngannou was a warm-up fight. Was a gimme fight, and it shouldn't have even been classed as a fight.
Right.
Seeing what happened there.
You see what happened there with it. You know what I mean?
Well, Fury, I mean, as you see on the screen, has posted the tail of the tape, and ultimately, what you can see the direction of travel he thinks he's going in. You know, in terms of the outcomes that he's projecting for himself, with smoke coming at the end of the year. We'll see. Moses Itauma is fighting on January 24th against Jermaine Franklin. This is an interesting fight for a lot of reasons in it, because a lot of currency will be made out of the fact that Jermaine is very durable. And it wasn't the fight that was originally anticipated. That was going to be Kubrat Pulev, for whatever reason, monetarily, I think it wasn't made. He went off and lost to Gassiev, right? You've now got Jermaine Franklin, who went in against Dillian Whyte. A lot of people felt that he won the fight against Dillian Whyte. It was unlucky. Yep. I didn't find it the most inspiring fight for Anthony Joshua to have had, but Anthony Joshua was coming back and rebuilding against Jermaine Franklin. So he goes in with a thought process of that, or the thought process is that he's very durable. Where is the benefit in this fight for Moses Itauma? Is it that he gets rounds against this guy, or, as Frank Boren said to me earlier on today, well, no one gets paid for overtime. I don't care if he knocks him out in the first round. Yeah,
well, I think there's a lot of credibility if he does knock Jermaine Franklin out, because Franklin's one of those guys that's very difficult to use his lack of height to his advantage, very difficult to look good against. We saw that with Anthony Joshua. He went 12 rounds with Anthony Joshua as well. So you go, the benefits from this is Moses Itauma goes in there, gets the job done against Jermaine Franklin and does it in style, and then all of a sudden you're looking at it going, well, now, you know, this kid is like, he's beating people now that survive or push top-tier opponents all the way. So I think it's a clever move. Jermaine Franklin is a good opponent because he could get the rounds under his belt, which is much needed. But also, if he gets rid of him and gets rid of him in style, you have to take notice.
But we know he can do that. And no one thought he could do that against Dempsey McKean, right?
Yeah.
Everyone thought that Dempsey McKean was a credible opponent. He'd taken Filip Hrgovic to 11 rounds to dispatch of him. Bang. bang, gone, finished, right? So do we learn anything, Paul? Or if he goes in against Jermaine Franklin, who, he's been given some cachet because he went 12 rounds with a rebuilding Anthony Joshua who hadn't fought for a while after being demolished or beaten by Usyk. Not demolished, he was demolished by Daniel Dubois later on. But do we learn anything about Moses Itauma that we don't already know? That we know that he can punch, we know that if someone gets hit by him, they're going to go. We still have the resounding question about Moses Itauma. When someone sticks it on him, is he capable? I think everyone thinks he is, but that's the only question, isn't it?
I don't think you're going to get the answers that people really want out of Moses, because I just think he's brilliant.
Until he fights a world-class opponent.
I think Jermaine Franklin is a very good opponent, but he's known for making things difficult but not really posing that much of a threat.
I wouldn't be surprised if he absolutely wipes him out.
I was just about to... I promise, I was just about to say this.
And that's the thing.
I think Moses Itauma is going to absolutely obliterate him.
Yeah, me too.
I agree.
Me too.
And I think we're all going to be left scratching our heads until he fights
but he's making another statement. He's making another statement
to us. It's making a statement to the industry, but the fans are just going to think, another mismatch.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's not really a win-win fight for them.
Talking about world-level fighters, let's get you closer to home. What's the plan for Daniel Dubois?
To be in a mix, honestly. Like we want as a team, we would like the Fabio Wardley fight. But again, wanting and getting is two different things, because it would have to be a voluntary shot. And Fabio has earned his stripes. He deserves...
Why should he take that fight?
Why should he? But say if he doesn't get a Fury fight, he doesn't get a unification fight, he doesn't get the Usyk fight, the biggest available name, let me make that clear, outside of the boys, the obvious boys, is Daniel Dubois, which means the biggest payday. And I think those two Londoners having it out at the O2 Arena is an absolute barn burner to watch. If he doesn't want to do that, that's up to him. He's earned the right not to. It's a voluntary defence. But I'm just making it very clear we'd love that fight. And the Cabello fight, nobody wants him. Daniel Dubois wants him. So we're in the mix for all these fights.
He's open to all the top tier opponents. Because the problem you got, Sam, is because of Daniel and how dangerous he is, the top tier fighters won't want to put that position on the line before boxing. These titles will fragment at some point, you know what I mean? So opportunities are going to come out there. So I think the problem is getting the opponent that wants to fight Daniel.
You look at, but like I say, it's a money business. It's a money business, isn't it, Paul? People all look at that and think, what's the biggest available money fight for me? And like I say, no one's running towards Ajit Cabello. Daniel Dubois, if you look at his heavyweight CV, no matter what anyone says about Dan, he boxes anybody. So we'll fight Cabello, we'll fight him in a stadium in Germany.
Any of the big names on the premise, on the cusp of being given a world title shot, have zero benefit in fighting Daniel Dubois unless they're fighting him for a title. Why would you? Because ultimately, what's Daniel got to offer you? Unless he's going to give you a big payday, why would you take Daniel Dubois? Not because you're fearful of fighting him, because ultimately, if you have a bad night and put yourself in the way of something, and there's nothing to be gained from beating Daniel Dubois, you don't get closer to a title. If you're on Ajit Cabello and you're next up in line to fight for a world title, unless you're fighting Daniel Dubois for that world title, what's the point of fighting him?
I've said this for a long time, Simon, and this is my thing. When people talk about UFC is one industry and one company in a big sport. One belt doesn't work, and undisputed titles, they tend to mess the order of things up, and fighters sit around waiting, especially in the heavyweight division, the light heavyweight division. My brother Callum's waited nearly a year to get for the interim title defence. It's tough, and I do agree with the Ring Magazine belt. You can have one who's known as the number one, but I think we need these other titles, unfortunately, for boxing, because it keeps things moving. It keeps the fight being made, because
it goes stagnant, doesn't it?
You're both exactly right what you're saying. Why would you take a chance like Joseph Parker did against Wardley and lose everything?
Absolutely. Obviously, a lot of noise, Sam, literally and metaphorically, was made at the time of the Usyk fight with Daniel and the antics that went on. And they've been pulled to pieces and examined by all us so-called experts that understand the psyche of his dad and understand the psyche of his background. Has there been a straightening out of the perspective? Because I think most people, irrespective of you defending the fact that you now have a relationship with Daniel and you don't want to talk out of turn about his dad, and I understand all that, right? But most people look at that and go, that can't have been helpful. Those antics weren't, in our mind, constructive or beneficial to a fighter going in and probably his toughest test. Right? Have you established order in the space?
It's not about, honestly, I promise you, it's not about establishing order. It's about, it's not going to happen again. They did it before the AJ fight. It worked. He looked $1 million. Happened in the Usyk fight. It didn't go to plan. It was the wrong thing to do. Everyone,
all signed up for that, are they?
We just move.
Everyone's
forward.
on that page.
Yeah, it's
Father's
just,
on the page.
It's not gonna. It's not. I think you'll see a more. There'll be no big entourages. There'll be just
Who has the final say in that, though? Because we know that his dad is a prominent part of this team.
Yeah,
and what he says pretty much goes with a lot of stuff.
Daniel's father, no matter whether I was involved,
absolutely,
the coach is involved, Daniel's father is always going to be a very prominent figure in Daniel's life, and that's the way it is.
Yeah.
It's just about coming together and making a decision as a team. But as for his dad, his dad's his dad,
Yeah.
and he wants what's best for his son.
Does he understand that, though, to you?
What, his dad?
Yeah.
Of course, I speak
Does he
to his...
understand that? Obviously, Daniel comes first, whatever's best for Daniel.
100%.
Because obviously he's going to think that what he's done in the past has been best. And listen, I've said this time and time again, I'm not completely slagging him off.
Yeah.
He can sit back and go, well, my kids are all world champions, that's the champion amateur boxers.
Yeah.
I've done the best job in the world for them, and he has.
Yeah.
So is he aware that obviously it's
absolutely,
got to be
but listen, nobody's perfect, are they, Paul? And we can all make the wrong decisions. Yeah. We've all done it. But I think it's like he's in a position, like you say there, like his son like speaks like 3 different languages. Yeah. He's a boxer, plays about 4 different instruments. Yeah. His daughter, world champion. His other daughter, seriously intelligent. Daniel, former heavyweight champion of the world. He's like, well, who are we
Fantastic,
really? Who are we really?
But is there? I mean, there's a lot of road in front of Daniel, a lot of opportunity, right? And unless I think the consensus of opinion is, unless there is a structured approach to the best outcome for Daniel as a boxer, not for his son and father relationship, but for the best outcome from, in terms of trainers being able to train. I spoke to Paul about it. I spoke to Jamie Moore about it, and both of them felt that the father's influence in the circumstances would be something that I think I'm right in saying this, Paul, that they would find uncomfortable if they were training Daniel Dubois. Has that now been straightened out? And everyone understands that going forward there is a degree of orthodoxy about the thinking that probably needs to be deployed to give him the best opportunity to be the best version of himself and potentially win a world title again.
Honestly, absolutely. I mean, look, Daniel's training with Tony. And Tony's been around, Tony Sims. He's been around long enough to know, like, Tony's the coach, and what he says goes. You know what I mean? Like, it's Tony's. We've had conversations already, and Tony's a very prominent voice in that. And why would you bring an experience like that if you weren't going to listen to him?
I suppose what we're sort of asking is, though, that if Daniel's father decides to make a decision that sort of overturns what Tony's saying, because it's been done in the past, where he sort of puts himself in there and says, no, I'm the final decision, that's how it goes. Has them conversations been had where you say, listen, let the trainer be the trainer, let the manager be the manager, and you be the father, because sometimes his father's involvement overturns the manager or the trainer?
I think that's blown out of proportion, honestly. I think that...
It's not blown out of proportion, mate.
No, I do. Like, it is.
But it's not, though.
When we've discussed opponents now going forward, it's all of us together. It's all of us together. Yeah. Obviously, Tony being a huge part of
I get that.
Yeah, different conversation. But what I'm saying is, has that been ironed out? Because in the past, I know this anyway, but in the past, his father has played certain roles where maybe the trainer should have played or the manager should have rated, overturned things. All I'm saying is, had they ironed it out to make it a lot smoother and a lot easier for everyone to operate?
From what my experience of working with Daniel for a short period of time, there's been. So
we're not going. So bottom line, we're not going to see. We're going to see a more professional approach to the circumstances surrounding the preparation for big fights. We're not going to see people walking into auditoriums with a party prior to that.
There'll be none of that. And as I say, going forward, Daniel, you'll see him involved in big fights like he always is. He don't shirk a challenge, and I'm looking forward.
And we'll look forward to the next iteration of Daniel to see that the questions that still keep being asked about him. I like Daniel Dubois. I hoped that he'd do better in a fight against Oleksandr Usyk. The question comes up and has come up on numerous occasions. I know that the answer will be look at Hrgović, look at Baby Miller, but there's still a question about when it gets tough for Daniel. Yeah. There's a gag reflex that he doesn't, and I know I shouldn't say it because I'm not a fighting man, so I'll move on from that.